Let me get to Cindy Hyde-Smith, the U.S. Senator. Good morning, ma'am. How are you? It's good to have you, and I thank you for joining us. You okay?
Oh, good morning, Paul. We are. It's a
Good morning to
cold
you.
day in D.C. this morning. Woke
Well, I
up and it
always
was
ask
25
because
degrees.
it's a beautiful time of the year, and when the cherry blossoms bloom, are they out yet? Because we usually see pictures of that.
Absolutely gorgeous right now. The allergy
Are they?
season has started when the cherry blossoms bloom, but it is
Yeah.
beautiful downtown D.C. Absolutely gorgeous.
There are several things I want to cover, and I know we have limited time here, but let's take the Judge Jackson hearings first of all. There's no doubt at all, unless something unbelievable happens, that this woman is going to be the next Supreme Court justice. Your thoughts and analysis thus far of the hearings and what you've heard?
Well, you're exactly right. They have the votes to confirm, but the hearings last week were very, very telling. And I think all of us, we're just looking for an umpire. We're looking for someone to call balls and strikes that, is not an activist from the bench and interprets the law as it is written and not what they wish it would say. I have a lot of concerns, and I did not vote for her on the Court of Appeals because she's a very good activist before she got here. But we're going through the process as detailed as we need to go through, and I will meet with her actually this Thursday. And she had a lot of hard questions during the hearing. She avoided a lot of the questions, and she was hesitant to answer a lot of the questions. But the confirmation process is just going through the normal process. I think everybody's been pretty respectful. You do get asked hard questions when you're the nominee. And that's the reason we have the hearing process, is because, we're just looking for answers to her position on many things.
Any particular questions, Senator, that you want to ask her that you haven't heard, and anything? And I know you take time to formulate those questions, and you have limited time. But any particular question that you'll ask her that you really want the answer to?
Well, fairness. That's it. Do you have the ability to just see justice for what justice is, and do you have the ability to be, fair? And every decision that you make, and, just the standard things that most senators are going to ask her. Yeah. But my concern is the ability to be fair, and things that we heard in the confirmation hearing, just leads more concerns to that.
Switch over to what is the schedule? When are the hearings over? How much longer will this go on before they're actually put this on the floor of the Senate?
Well, the hearings are finished. There may be a few things left, but, we had 4 days of confirmation hearings. And then we will go through, and she'll have the opportunity to meet with different members that want to meet with her and look at her record, and then bring it out of committee, possibly March the 21st and 24th with the hearings, and probably a vote coming up. I don't remember the exact dates of the vote, but we will have the vote coming up as she comes out of the committee. And I do think she will come out of the committee with no problem.
Boy, it is remarkably different than the last time a Supreme Court justice was nominated and went through this. And I hope people see the difference. And this is a very tangible way to look at the differences between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. The theater that was before is not there. Most of the questions have been to the point. Nobody's been badgering to the point where it's just it's a headline on the next day and a news clip on the next day's news. So remarkable differences between the Republican Party and the Democrat Party. You want to answer or
no
speak
doubt.
to that?
Yeah. And it has been, like I said, it's been pretty respectful, but the vote is expected on April the 11th. That date just came to
April
me.
the 11th.
April the 4th is the committee vote, and then I'm pretty sure April the 11th will be the full Senate confirmation vote, and that's right before our Easter recess. But, I think the hearings have gone very well.
Let's talk about the Russia situation. Joe, again, got himself in trouble by saying what he said, that this guy's got to be overthrown. That's what most people took it as. Is the situation with Joe Biden getting better or worse, or is it status quo? There are some people who have just, my understanding, begged him to stay on script because every time he gets off, they have to do 24 to 48 hours of damage control. What's it like from your viewpoint?
Well, all Americans normally have a TV in their house, and they're seeing what we are seeing. And yes, when you give him a microphone, there's usually cleanup afterwards. And, he did make that comment, and at one time he was backing it up. Now he's not, he's still doubling down on it and saying, that is not exactly what he meant, that he wasn't insinuating that there's wartime in front of us, but that, he thinks that he will lose control at some point. Yeah. We have so many concerns there. And just looking at Afghanistan, the way that situation was handled right there, it was truly the definition of a debacle. That's one of the longest nights I think of my life is when we went into Afghanistan to get folks out, and to, leave so much equipment is just so alarming right there, just the dollar figure. But everybody is concerned, and we know that the world sees us as a weak target. And, we need to be strengthening our military, not cutting any budgets, and increasing the budgets. I think his budget has a proposal of 4% increase, and to me that needs to be a lot stronger than what it is, because he has the authority and the to provide lethal and non-lethal military aid to Ukraine, and that's exactly what we need to be doing for all of our NATO allies. That they are needing equipment, they're needing fuel, they need it now. And it's really been sad that we have not delivered as quickly as the United States should be able to deliver on that.
I think there's been more than one general who have said, man, sure would have been nice to have all that equipment we left back in Afghanistan. They could have used that. And again, there's been more than one general who's made that comparison on leaving it there compared to just maybe moving it over and sending it to the Ukraine. Yesterday, the president tried to galvanize congressional Democrats to overhaul the nation's tax code and dramatically raise rates on corporations and ultra-wealthy Americans. In other words, punish the producers who are creating the jobs, make risking your financial future on future investments or even the innovations and expansion. But he's going after this, asking for trillions of dollars. President laid out a tax hike yesterday as part of his $5.8 trillion budget blueprint for federal spending in the fiscal year 2023. And in one point, and I'll ask you this on the other side, at one point I almost want to say good, because a lot of these big corporation and tech people who are doing quite well during the pandemic have supported the Democrats. But the other part of me knows that at the end of the day, they've got million-dollar lawyers, tax lawyers, to write something in on page 5,000, one little line that's going to get out of them, and it's going to come down to the people in the middle class actually paying that. So it's a little bit scary, but he is trying to soak it to the 1%, so-called 1%. So we will see. I'll ask that and more coming up with the U.S. Senator Cindy Hyde-Smith. House and Senate gavel in at 10 o'clock this morning, and it looks like another full day of work under the dome. Back live in the Trustmark studios, looking to secure your financial future. Trustmark Advantage Suite fits you to a T. Trustmark, people you trust, advice that works. Member FDIC, equal housing lender. Back with Cindy Hyde-Smith. I do know that hopefully if the House and Senate is able to return to the power of the Republicans after midterm, Cindy, we got to do something with this this obligation, this dependency on people like China for the certain minerals. And now we heard, as far as the farmers are concerned, we have a problem with Russia and potassium. And from my understanding is we can do that here, but there's so many damn regulations that these Democrats have put on us. It's more profitable to go to Russia, and now we are having shortages. Would you please speak to that? Because it seems to me that there are easy things that we could do to reverse that dependency.
There are a lot of things that we obviously can do. Open up the pipeline is obviously the number one thing, is to get back to where we were, even last year. And looking at this inflation, it is just absolutely incredible. But there's simple things that can fix this and reverse the Biden administration decisions. And the midterms are going to be very interesting. I think the Democrats know that they're in trouble. President Biden's approval rating is so low right now. If I was at 30 to 40%, everybody would be extremely concerned, and that's where he is. But he's there for good reason. The position we're in as a country with inflation, with the cost of energy, is direct results of the decision the Biden administration has made. And we have got to go back in and correct what we can of that. When the Republicans, and I really do think the Republicans will be back in control after the midterms.
Yeah.
But, the country, they know that we're on the wrong track, and we have been since he took office. And Democrats just can't tax and spend their way out of this record inflation. We've got to get in control. We've got to make decisions that we can put on the president's desk as Republicans of passing conservative legislation that will get us back on track. We have never seen the situation of inflation and the cost of the items that consumers are having to purchase as bad as it is since I have been in public office. And you're exactly right. We would fight to increase the U.S. energy production, the critical mineral mining to benefit American families, just as you said. The farmers are being hit in every direction. And people don't really talk a lot about the minerals that are needed and what they're costing us right now. But it's just, it's a shame that our solutions are being ignored during this crisis, but it is falling on completely deaf ears in the White House.
He reminds me of an old-time doctor from the 1850s where the only thing that he can do is bleed you to get the bad stuff out. He's going to bleed you, and when you're in your last few breaths, he keeps saying, "Don't worry, son. This is for your own good." And the reason I say that is because this is not happenstance. Somewhere in his thwarted mind and those people who are influencing him, he thinks this is good. And if you don't believe that, listen to this soundbite.
This crisis also presents an opportunity. It's a catalyst that will drive the investments we need to double.
One more time. He's talking about the gas crisis killing every American.
This crisis also presents an opportunity. It's a catalyst that will drive the investments we need to double down on our clean energy goals and accelerate progress. This crisis also presents an opportunity.
Yeah.
It's a catalyst that will drive the...
You hear that and you think, my God, this is from day one, that's what he thought. This is a progressive thing, and we're going to force you to buy an EV vehicle one way or the other.
Yes, and as we all know, that, everybody wants green energy. Nobody's opposed to that, but it can't be done overnight. It definitely needs to be an option and not a mandatory thing. After the State of the Union address, most presidents get a pretty good bump in their approval ratings, and he did not. And he is losing his base, and, it really has eroded significantly because of the decisions that they have made. Because when Mississippi families are hurting the way Mississippi families are hurting right now, it is felt throughout the country, and strictly because of the policies that, we just want an opportunity to raise our families, to have prosperity. And when I talk to young people that are coming out of high school or coming out of college, I always say, the only limitations you have are those that you put on yourself. With the regulations, with the inflation the way it is right now, that opportunity has certainly been reduced. And hopefully after the midterms, we can take back over, we can put in policies that are proven, that are beneficial, that allow prosperity and growth, allow an economy to thrive in this country, that we are certainly just seeing diminish, almost totally diminish over the past year.
And it's hard to believe how fast that demise has happened in just a short span of a year. The shadow of Donald Trump is not going away. Each week, each rally, each statement he makes, it looks like that shadow is getting a little bit darker and grows a little bit longer. Our man, brother in broadcast, Ben Shapiro, was on Bill Maher the other day.
Let me ask you what you think is going to happen in 2024. You think Trump's going to run, right?
I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
I would be shocked, too. Is he going to get the nomination, or is maybe your boy here, DeSantis, going to fight him?
I mean, the big problem for the Republicans is going to be whether anybody runs against him, because he's a giant wrecking ball. And if you run against Trump, you run the risk that he wrecks you so hard in the primary that you have no chance in the general. That is the big question.
So what do you think will happen?
I think that if he runs, it's going to clear the field.
Right. So I could see that Trump could actually win that election easily, especially if the Democrats keep doing the stuff they are doing to piss people off, like in schools. When you have my kid coming home from school and saying, "Mommy, am I a racist?" You're 5. You just learned the word. That's what I worry about with the Democrats.
The thing about it, Senator, is he's attacking just about every constituent base he has as far as Joe Biden is concerned, and it does not bode well for the Democrats in the House or Senate. Final thoughts?
Well, we do find ourselves in a very serious situation with the Ukraine crisis, with the economy, and, here we are trying to confirm a Supreme Court justice during all of this. But we've just got to take methodical steps to make good decisions that are long-term goals that we can implement that will be beneficial. Say what you want about President Trump. His policy was excellent, and he showed us a lot of things and a lot of ways to accomplish things, and, they worked. So we just want to go back to reasonable solutions of to run this country that will provide the opportunity that Americans can succeed, and that, we can go back to having normal lives where our income is not eaten up by inflation, to go back to those principles and those practices that work, that, we're not here to overregulate by any means. We are here to take these regulations, to walk them back, the strangulations of so many things that affect agriculture, that so many things that affect financing, because as we talk about him going after these big corporations, we're talking about financing. We're talking about the financial institutions that are willing to go out and, make these loans to make sure these companies can continue. And when that is, you lose that footing there, that there's no confidence out there of how things, can grow and the economy can prosper, that puts us in a very serious position.
Midterms could not get here too soon. As always, we thank you, ma'am. Appreciate the time. And again, what's on the agenda for today as far as the U.S. Senate's concerned?
Well, we will have some votes later this evening. We're still going through confirmation processes. We're still having some hearings. Of course, the Supreme Court justice hearings, they're over with now. And a lot of meetings of individual members meeting with Judge Jackson. So that's pretty much the scuttlebuttle this week is, the Supreme Court justice. But also, there's a lot of fundraising going on in this city to try to help get conservatives back in office, or to get conservatives in these positions that are open. We have several senators that are retiring. So people are concentrating on that. And, we're looking at the president's budget as well. So we have a full calendar this week.
Got you. But then again, when is fundraising in Washington, D.C. not happening? So always good talking to you.
Exactly.
Cindy Hyde-Smith, U.S. Senator. Thank you, ma'am. Appreciate it very much. Have a great day.